gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. Like, not everything hasn't fallen apart just yet. You know, got a few more hours.
I'll take a picture and then I'll.
Yeah, I don't want you to.
You know what?
Fascinated by all this tech.
Oh, is this?
This is amazing.
Is this new for you?
This is, yeah, it's sort of, like, what is that cover?
That is from Cowboy Bebop. That's Spike Spiegel.
Okay. Mine's advanced potion making.
Oh, you're a nerd.
I'm a nerd. Total nerd. My iPhone 5, I had to get like a Canadian kind of phone, and my iPhone 5 is a Quidditch. It's like a, you know, that old school,
So
like,
really for you,
varsity.
this is all about playing with a futuristic time turner, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that. I'll just like use that term, and they'll be like, "You're not at Hogwarts. What are you doing?" I'm like, "You don't know that." So yeah.
You don't know.
It always has Harry Potter
Harry
anyway.
Potter references are always okay.
They're always acceptable. Thank you. How you guys doing?
Well, you're at San Diego Comic-Con and you're geeking out. What are you geeking out about?
Well, I haven't quite had time to go down to the floor. I think that's coming up this afternoon. I think that's where we're going next. I'm really, really excited to just kind of see everything.
It's insane.
It's insane, and people are so creative, and I don't know, I kind of love it.
Yeah, I can already imagine you getting like paused at all of it.
Oh yeah, I'm getting
There's a
pushed
Harry
along.
Potter
Like people are like, you
part
can't.
where you can play with a wand.
Oh, there it is.
They do a video of you. They send it to you. No, on Fantastic Beasts.
There it
No,
is.
the WB.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you're going to do.
WB booth.
You know people.
You know people working for the Warner Brothers?
Just a wand.
Yeah. My friend took me to the Universal. Technically it's Diagon Alley-ish. It's Hogsmeade, but they put stores from Diagon. It's very confusing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking so much about it.
I don't think you know the difference.
Oh yeah. I'm like, wait a second. You can't have Ollivanders and the 3 broomsticks. You just can't. It's not right.
I already know that you're going to love the show just because this is already fascinating to me.
I love it. No, I do love it.
We were all so emotional watching. I don't know. I
No,
was
definitely.
about to
There were
cry.
tears.
When did you guys see it?
Preview night, Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh my
There
god.
were tears and chills.
Tears.
I think we were the first people to see it too.
Yeah,
They announced that. Yeah.
There were
God.
tears and chills throughout the whole room.
I think I got chills at you saying that. That's really amazing.
I lost my dad not so long ago. And
I'm so
I
sorry.
was in tears. And then the baseball connection. I want to know how it felt for you. Like, were you emotional playing it?
I was emotional playing it. I think what's interesting about this show, at least for me, is the emotion hits me at not necessarily the predictable times. You know, I will actually find myself like thinking about a scene when I'm cooking dinner, and I'm just sort of like trying to process it and let it sink in as to like where it's going. And I find myself just kind of getting a bit caught up and going, where did that come from? Why am I emotional? And I think it's, you know, with these things like, you know, our relationships and people, loved ones that we've had and lost, and it's really hard to pin down what that emotion is, and I think it's really brave that they just go for it on this show, and it's really vulnerable, it's really raw, and I think for me and Riley too, we're just kind of going, okay, this is what it looks like, and this is what's happening, and you know, just kind of rip off the Band-Aid and go. So I think you know, there's a lot of it that appealed to me, but I think it's great that you see behind the curtain with these characters quite a bit.
You have a lot of support to do that too.
We do, and I think there's a lot of trust too. I think between a lot of the actors with each other and with the producers, like knowing that they've got a plan and knowing that, like, you know, it's okay to jump. So yeah.
Does the character of Frank help Raimy through the impact, the personal impact, that how her life has changed? Because we only saw like a little bit of that.
Well, it's funny. It's like I always assume before I really step back and think about it that like Frank is the dad. Frank should always be the one who's supportive. He should always be the one taking care of Raimy. But he's 28, as we know him. You know, he doesn't have an adult child. He's still, you know, he's still growing up. He's still figuring out who he is and what he stands for. And I think it's interesting how they relate to one another. And you know, it's not always, you know, roses and daisies. Like, they sometimes go at each other. They sometimes fight. They sometimes don't know how to be together. They don't know how to interact with each other. And I think that's really real, you know, because you don't always handle things, you know, in hindsight, you're like, yeah, I could have handled that way better. But in reality, it's hard to cope sometimes. You know, we're dealing with, you know, blowing up a life, like just everything, you know, gone. And I think, it'd be interesting to see how Frank steps up as a parent and how he handles it.
There's a lot of time traveling shows that's going to be coming on in the next season. What do you think makes your show stand out?
Well, what's funny is Frequency was the only time travel show I read during pilot season, and that's your exposure because I'm sort of with you guys. I haven't seen the shows until they premiere them here, or once they finally air. So I haven't seen them. I have friends working on them and talking about it, but I'm not totally 100% like. I don't know them very, very well. The premise with this, it's sort of time travel, but we're not physically traveling. It's consciousness. It's not getting into a machine or walking through a plane or it's the frequency. It's the waves or whatever, right? And I wish I knew more science and I could explain it better, but I don't. So I think that makes it different. Is that you're not physically going to another time. As much as I would love to do that, and I think that would be amazing. We don't really explore that. We just sort of explore the butterfly effect of things taking a different trajectory and taking a different path. And I think people. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't stopped and thought about that. Stopped and went, what if I took that trip? What if I took that job? What if I did this? And where would my life be? And who would still be in my life? And who would I have met? Or who would I lose? And I think that's provocative. I think it makes people think about it, and it's scary, but it's kind of like you can't help but wonder. So I think we'll get to do that.
Last question, guys.
I guess I'll go. So as an actress, these alternate realities, how do you depict that? Like playing the same characters, in different.
I think that's what's fun in the pilot is you get to figure that out. Like as an actor, as the producers do, is coming together and being like, okay, so what happens? Like how does it work? And how do you have memories of both? You can remember both timelines, and the memories hit you, and all of a sudden you're remembering the memory, even though you didn't live it or maybe walk through it yourself. And I think, I think there's going to be a lot of keeping track of things. But what I do think is amazing about Jeremy is he makes everything incredibly comprehensive and on the surface that you can follow it. What's cool is that I find that I get the story and I'm like, oh, I loved it, and then I read it again and I go, oh, and it's like you peel back a layer and you're just going, did he really plan all of this? Because that's amazing. So I think it sort of has a level of comprehension that's good, and I think people want to be able to understand it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.